So good morning everybody. Today's topic is isolation of DNA from onion or chicken liver tissue. Today's topic is isolation of DNA from onion or chicken liver tissue. Before going to the isolation of DNA, see the outline. Definition of DNA, aim of definition DNA isolation, definition of DNA isolation, purpose of DNA isolation, sample selection, steps of DNA isolation, chemistry behind it outline. Now see the life is composed of lifeless chemical molecules. The single cell of the bacterium Escherichia coli contain about 6,000 different organic compounds. These organic compounds are amino acids, nucleotides, monosaccharides. What are the organic compounds? Amino acids, nucleotides, monosaccharides. These amino acids, nucleotides, monosaccharides serve as the monomeric units. Or building blocks of complex biomolecules. So the amino acids, nucleotides, monosaccharides are building blocks of complex biomolecules. The macromolecules, example, proteins, lipids, nucleic acids, and polysaccharides. These are the macromolecules form supramolecular assemblies which in turn organize into organelles, cells, tissues, organs, and finally the whole organism. So the whole organism contains the macromolecules, proteins, lipids, nucleic acids, and polysaccharides with micromolecules. Nucleic acids are the polymer of nucleotides, or nucleic acids are the monomeric units of polymer of nucleotides. Once again, I am repeating, nucleic acids are monomeric units of polymer of nucleotides. See here it is, what are the nucleotides? Nucleotides meaning is, here it is a tide meaning is three molecules, that is base, sugar and phosphate. Base, sugar and phosphate. Which type of base is present? That is nitrogen base. That is nitrogen containing bases. Which type of sugar is present? Ribose sugar, that is pentose sugar, 5 carbons. 5 carbon sugar, that is pentose sugar. Now see the nitrogen bases. Actually, nucleic acids containing the 5 types of nitrogen bases. That is adenine, guanine, cytosine, thymine, and uracil. How many? 5 types. That is adenine, guanine, cytosine, thymine, and uracil. These are the nitrogen bases. So 5 types of nitrogen bases present in the nucleic acids. Okay, these all 5 nitrogen bases not present in both the DNA and RNA. Only 4 bases are present in DNA and RNA. These bases are again divided into purines and pyrimidines. These bases are divided into purines and pyrimidines. See, what are the purines? What are the pyrimidines? Purines are adenine, guanine are the purines. Cytosine, thymine, and uracil are the pyrimidines. Adenine, guanine are the purines. Cytosine, thymine, and uracil are the pyrimidines. Now see these purines and pyrimidines arrangement in DNA and RNA. Adenine, guanine is the purines present in the DNA. Cytosine and uracil is the pyrimidines present in the DNA. So how many bases are present in the DNA? 4 bases, that is adenine, guanine, cytosine, and uracil. So these out of these 4, 2 are purines, 2 are pyrimidines. That is adenine, guanine are the purines, cytosine and thymine are the pyrimidines. Now see the RNA containing the 2 purines and 2 pyrimidines. That is adenine and guanine are the 2 purines, cytosine and uracil present in the RNA. So the RNA also contains 4 bases, that is adenine, guanine, thymine, adenine, guanine, cytosine and uracil. If you observe both the DNA and RNA, they contain the same purines, one same pyrimidine. Same purines are two, that is one pyrimidine is same. Adenine, guanine are the same purines that is present in both DNA and RNA. Cytosine is the pyrimidine present both DNA and RNA, but they are differ at thymine and uracil. Thymine is present in the DNA, uracil is present in the RNA. So DNA containing the adenine, guanine, cytosine and thymine, and RNA containing adenine, guanine, cytosine and uracil. Now see the adenine guanines are the double ring bases. See here it is. This is a one ring. This is a one ring. This one is ring. There is another ring. So adenine and guanine, these two purines are double ring bases. Double ring bases. This one and two. And thymine, cytosine and uracil are the single ring bases. See here it is only single ring. Here is the single ring. So the pyrimidines are contain the single ring bases. Purines are the double ring bases. Purines are the double ring bases. The importance of the nitrogen bases. So they are essentially planar, hydrophobic in nature. They are weak bases. These are the weak bases. Now see the arrangement of number in purines and pyrimidines. Purines numbered in the anti-clockwise direction. See here it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the anti-clockwise direction. So purines are numbered in the anti-clockwise direction. Pyrimidines are numbered in the clockwise direction. See here it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So purines are numbered in the anti-clockwise direction. Pyrimidines are numbered in the clockwise direction. See here it is. There is a clockwise, there is an anti-clockwise. So other than major bases, nitrogen bases are the major bases. Other than the major bases, minor bases also present. That is 5-methyl cytosine, N4 acetyl cytosine, N6-methyl adenine, N6 dimethyl adenine, and pseudo-uracil. 5-methyl cytosine, N4 acetyl cytosine, N6-methyl adenine, N6 dimethyl adenine, and pseudo-uracil. These are the minor bases. If you see the function of the minor bases and major bases are recognition of specific enzymes. Recognition of specific enzymes. So out of minor and major bases, our body also contains the biologically important bases. Biologically important bases, that is hypoxanthine, xanthine, uric acid, hypoxanthine, xanthine, and uric acid. Uric acid is the end product of purine degradation. So uric acid is the end product of purine degradation. These are the biologically important bases. So other than biologically important bases, pharmacologically important bases also that is present in the plants. Generally, plants containing the certain methylated purines. Certain methylated purines. That is, caffeine is a methylated purine that is present in the coffee. Theophylline is a purine that is present in the tea. Theobromine that is present in the cocoa. So caffeine, theophylline, and theobromine, so containing the methylated, these are the methylated purines. These are the purines. These are mainly present in the caffeine is present in the coffee. Theophylline is present in the tea. Theobromine is present in the cocoa. Now see what are the nucleoside. Nucleoside. This nucleoside consisting of two molecules, that is sugar and base. Sugar and base. The addition of pentose sugar to base produces a nucleoside. Nucleoside meaning is nothing but it consists of two molecules, one is sugar, another one is base. When the addition of pentose sugar to base produces a nucleoside. Here it is a pentose sugar is a ribose. If the sugar is ribose, now called the ribonucleosides. Now called the ribonucleosides. So if the sugar is ribose, ribonucleosides are formed. See the example, adenosine, guanosine, cytidine and uridine. Adenosine, guanosine, cytidine and uridine. See here it is adenosine, pronunciation, adenosine. So what I'm saying, nucleosides meaning is one sugar and one base, only two molecules, adenosine. That is here it is a adeno means is nothing but is adenine, sine means is a sugar molecule. That's why it is a adenosine. Guanosine, guanine plus sugar molecule, hence it is called the guanosine. Cytidine, that is a cytosine plus sugar molecule, hence they call the cytidine. Uridine, this is uracil plus sugar molecule known as the uridine. So think logically where these are present. These are present in the RNA because of adenine, guanine, cytosine and uracil. These are the bases with the sugar molecule. So these are the ribonucleosides. So present in the RNA. If the sugar is deoxyribose, deoxyribonucleosides are produced. If the sugar is deoxyribose, deoxyribonucleosides are produced. Now see the difference between the deoxyribose and ribose. Ribose means is a sugar. It is a pentose sugar. It consists of the 5 carbon molecules. See here it is ribose, one molecule, first carbon, second carbon, third carbon, fourth carbon and fifth carbon. Okay. Now see the attachment of the oxygen molecules at the first carbon, at the second carbon, at the third carbon, and here it is the fourth one, and at the fifth carbon. At the fifth carbon. This is the ribose. So ribose consists of the 5 carbon molecules, and here it is the oxygen molecules. Here it is deoxyribose. The meaning itself is deoxy. D means is lack of oxygen molecule, lack of. So here it is deoxy meaning is the lack of one oxygen molecule known as the deoxyribose. So here it is 1, 2, 3 and 4. At the second carbon, one oxygen is lack. So at the second carbon, one oxygen is less. That's why it is called the deoxyribose. So here it is once again 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Here it is in deoxyribose 1, 2, 3 and 4. So the difference between the ribose and deoxyribose. So deoxyribose meaning is a lack of one oxygen molecules called the deoxyribose. What is the mononucleotide? The name itself indicates mono. That is mono means a single. Nucleotide. Tide means is 3 molecules. Each one is a single. That is tide means is 3 molecules. What are they? Phosphate, sugar and base. Tide means is a sugar, phosphate and base. These are single. One phosphate moiety, one sugar moiety, one base moiety. So when a single phosphate moiety is added to a nucleoside, here it is a nucleoside meaning 2 molecules. That is, here it is a base, base and sugar. When the phosphate moiety is added to the nucleoside known as mononucleotides. Example, AMP, ZMP, CMP, TMP. AMP, see here it is adenosine, that is adenine. Sine meaning is a ribose plus phosphate. So how many? Adenine, ribose and phosphate. These are all monomers. This is the one, this is the one, this is the one. So that's why it is mononucleotides. These are the tides, 3 molecules. They are single. So adenine is the one, ribose is the one, and phosphate is the one. So known as a mononucleotides. AMP, adenosine monophosphate, ZMP, guanosine monophosphate, CMP is cytidine monophosphate. TMP is a thymidine monophosphate. Thymidine monophosphate. Now see the DNA structure. In early 1950s, in 1951, Wilkins and Franklin studied the structure of DNA by using X-ray crystals. She is the Franklin and Wilkins. The X-ray pattern suggested the structure of DNA was a helix. This one is a structure of, this is the X-ray diffraction photograph of DNA. See here it is a X-ray diffraction photograph of DNA. This is the DNA. In 1951. In 1953, the double helical structure DNA was proposed by the Watson and Crick. They got the Nobel Prize in 1962. Here it is a Watson and Crick. Now see this is the original model displayed at the Science Museum in London. There is the original model displayed at the Science Museum in London. DNA. Now see the DNA is polymer of deoxyribonucleotides. Why DNA is called a polynucleotide molecule? So because of it is composed of deoxyadenylate, deoxyguanylate, deoxycytidylate, deoxythymidylate. That is, D stands for is a deoxy. So DAMP, DGMP, DCMP, DTMP. So that the four bases, that is adenine and guanine, cytosine and thymine. These are contained, this DNA contained the ribose is deoxyribose. Hence it is called the deoxyribose. Deoxyadenylate, deoxyguanylate, deoxycytidylate, deoxythymidylate. What is the importance of this deoxy nucleotide? Adenylate, guanylate, cytidylate and thymidylate, which are combined to create a long chain called the polynucleotide. Which are combined to create a long chain called a polynucleotide. So DNA contains the genetic material which carries all the hereditary information which are coded in the arrangements of its nitrogen bases. Now see the importance of the nitrogen bases. So nitrogen bases ultimately containing the genetic information. So DNA containing the genetic material which carries all the hereditary information which are coded in the arrangements of its nitrogen bases. That's meaning nitrogen bases containing the genetic information in the coding form. DNA containing the small segment is known as gene. This consists of about 250 to 2 million base pairs. How many? 250 to 2 million base pairs. This base pairing capacity mainly depends upon the size of the gene. Now the structure of the DNA. DNA meaning is deoxyribonucleic acid. It is a double helical structure. See here it is a double helical structure, also known as a right-handed double helical structure. This is the one helix. See, and this one is the another helix. So two helix. This is the right-handed double helical structure twisted around the common axis. See, this is the common axis, twisted around the common axis. It is made up of polymer of nucleotides. What are the nucleotides? Base, sugar and phosphate. Okay. Now see the arrangement of these nucleotides. See here it is. Phosphate and sugar. These dots indicates the phosphate and sugar. See. Phosphate and sugar. These phosphate and sugar are present and outside of the DNA, act as a backbone of DNA. This is the backbone of DNA. See here it is. Okay. Now the bases are present inside the DNA. They stacked between the two helix. See here it is. They stacked between the two helix. These are the nitrogen bases. They are divided into purines and pyrimidines. So the DNA containing the purines and pyrimidines, they are present inside the DNA towards the right side. They stacked between the two strands. Okay. The base pairing is formed between the purines and pyrimidines only. Not purine-purine, not pyrimidine-pyrimidine. The base pairing is formed between the purines and pyrimidines. See the base pairing, that is AT and GC. AT and GC, adenine and thymine, and guanine and cytosine. So adenine is the one purine, thymine is the pyrimidine. Guanine is a purine, cytosine is a pyrimidine. So the base pairing formed between the AT and GC. So between the purines and pyrimidines. GC base pair is more stronger than the AT base pair. Why? Because AT containing the double bond, see here it is a double bond. GC containing the triple bond, see here it is 1, 2, 3. GC containing the guanine and cytosine containing the triple bond, and adenine and thymine containing the double bond. That's why GC base pair more stronger than the AT. These nucleotides are bind up with the phosphodiester bonds. These nucleotides are bind up with the phosphodiester bonds. Now see the one helix run from the 3' direction to 5'. See here it is. One helix run from the, this is the 3' to 5' direction. Another helix run from the 5' direction to 3' direction. So 5' direction to 3' direction. If you see the width of the two strands, this is the width of the two strands is 2 nanometers. How much nanometers? 2 nanometers. Now see the length of each turn. I'm not saying is whole length of DNA. The length of each turn, that is 3.4 nanometers. 3.4 nanometers. The distance between the two bases, are 0.34 nanometers. 0.34 nanometers. And DNA consistor shows the major groove and minor groove. What is the importance of this major groove and minor groove? At the major groove, proteins to attach. Which type of proteins? Histones. Proteins to attach. And at the minor groove, enzymes to attach without disturbing the helix. They are attached without disturbing the helix. Out of two strands, they contain one strand containing the genetic information known as sense strand. Another strand is known as anti-sense strand. Another strand is known as anti-sense strand. You have a doubt why we are calling the 3'. This is a first phase is calling the 3' and another one is calling the 5'. Why? Why don't you call the 3 and 5? So previously I told you, nucleotides are bind up with the phosphodiester bonds. Okay, see here it is answer. This is the nucleotide structure. See the arrangement. Each nucleotide, that is base, sugar and phosphate. See, here it is. So now the question is, why the 3' and 5'? Why don't you call the 3 and 5? So because these nitrogen bases containing the carbon groups and also sugar containing the carbon groups. See, here it is. Sugar, there is a first carbon, there is a sugar molecule, first carbon, second carbon, third carbon, fourth carbon, and fifth carbon. Okay. This nitrogen base also contain the carbon groups. See, here it is. Pyrimidines, see, here it is. I am saying is nitrogen bases, not saying is only purines and pyrimidines. So each nitrogen base also containing the carbon groups with the nitrogen. Okay. See, here it is a carbon, 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 and carbon. So carbon molecule, this is a carbon molecule, this is a carbon molecule, this is the carbon molecule. So both are, that means sugar molecules also having the carbon molecules, nitrogen base also having the carbon molecules. Due to the avoid the confusion, that's why they naming the prime. There is a first base on the sugar molecules, on the sugar. See, here it is a 1', 2', 3', 4', and 5'. That's why we are calling the 3' and 5'. That's why we are calling the 3' and 5'. Okay. Now see the why we are calling the again 3' and 5' and. So previous is why you are calling the 3' and 5'. That is different. Why we are calling this 3' and 5' and. Now again see the structure of 3, that is nucleotide structure. So previously I told you these nucleotides are bind up with the phosphodiester bonds. See the arrangement, base, sugar, and phosphate. These phosphodiester bridges are formed between the one nucleotide at the 5' of the one nucleotide and at the 3' of the another nucleotide. See, here it is. So there is one nucleotide at the 5' of the one nucleotide 2 and another nucleotide on the 3'. There is a 3'. Okay, see the arrangement. See, each nucleotide 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So nucleotide. This is a sequence. See, here it is. See, this is the nucleotides. Each nucleotide bind up with the phosphodiester molecules, where at the 5' end of the one nucleotide 2, at the 3' of another nucleotide. See, here it is. Bonding. That's why we are calling 3' and 5' and. At the 5' end, phosphodiester bond is free. See, here it is free form. It is not attached with the another nucleotide. See, at the 3' end, free hydroxyl group is present. See, here it is a 3' and free hydroxyl group is present. That's why we are calling is 3' and 5' and. Okay. There is no need to by heart the structure of the DNA. If you learn properly DNA figure, you can have the answer immediately. See, here it is. So you have a lot of answer regarding about its 10 marks. That is a DNA is a deoxyribonucleotide. Okay, it is a double helical structure. There is a double helical structure and run single axis, common axis. One strand is run from the 3' to 5' direction. Another strand is run from 5' to 3' direction. Another point is it is made up with the polynucleotides. Okay, these nucleotides are phosphate, base, and sugar. Okay, the arrangement of the sugar, phosphate and base. Phosphate and sugar present on the backbone of the DNA. Hence, it is known as a backbone. Phosphate sugar as a backbone, act as a backbone. Now, the purines and pyrimidines present inside the DNA. They stacked between the two helix. The arrangement is only between the purines and pyrimidines, that is AT and GC. AT base phase is less stable rather than the GC. Why? So because of GC containing the triple bonds, AT containing the double bonds. And DNA shows the two grooves, that is major grooves and minor grooves. So at the major groove, proteins to attach. Here it is a proteins are histone proteins. At the minor groove, enzymes to attach without disturbing the helix. Okay, so if you see the length of each turn of the helix length is 3.4 nanometers. The width of two strands is 2 nanometers. The distance between the two strands are 0.34 nanometers. Okay, out of these two strands, one strand containing the genetic information known as sense strand, another strand known as an anti-sense strand. Okay, so this is the information regarding the DNA. If you learn properly DNA structure, the DNA structure itself gives the answer. See that. Not only the double helix structure present, the double helix structure of DNA exists in 6 different forms, that is A to E and Z. A, B, C, D, E and Z. So how many? 6 forms. The double helix structure of DNA exists in 6 different forms, that is A to E and Z form. Among these, B, A and Z forms are important. B form is a double helical structure, also known as a right-handed helical structure. Okay, this was proposed by the Watson and Crick. This B form containing the each turn of the helix containing the 10 base pairs. How many base pairs? 10 base pairs. And also A form also is a right-handed helix. It containing the 11 base pairs per turn. How many? 11 base pairs. The Z form is a left-handed helix. It's containing the 12 bases. Why we are calling the Z form? So because polynucleotides are strands of DNA move somewhat zigzag. Hence it is known as a Z form. See, B form containing the 10 base pairs. This is a right-hand helical structure. And A form also is a right-handed helical structure. This is also containing the 10 base pairs. 11 base pairs, and Z form containing the 12 base pairs. This is a left-hand helix structure. 2 are right-handed helix structure. 1 is the left-hand helix structure. That is the Z form is the left-handed helical structure and containing the 12 base pairs. If you see the main function of the DNA, it's containing the genetic information and it stores the genetic information for a long term, and carries the genetic information to make other cells and new organisms. DNA is a self-replicating process. DNA is a self-replicating. They have the carbon and hydrogen bonds. The importance of these carbon and hydrogen, DNA make it fairly stable. DNA is susceptible to UV damage. Now see the DNA extraction from maybe onion or liver chicken. Now see the procedure. Introduction. DNA is present in all the cells of the living organisms. This procedure is designed to extract DNA from one onion or chicken liver is sufficient quantity to be seen and spooled. Now see the aim of isolation. Separate the DNA that is present in the nucleus of the cell from other cellular components. separate the DNA that is present in the nucleus of the cell from other cellular components. Now see where the DNA is located. That is present in the nucleus and mitochondria, plastids, bacterial nucleotides and plasmids. Where it is present? Nucleus, mitochondria, plastids, bacterial nucleotide and plasmids. DNA extraction is a routine procedure to isolate and collect DNA. It is a routine procedure to isolate and collect the DNA. DNA isolation is a process of purification of DNA from the sample by using a combination of physical and chemical methods. So the DNA isolation from the sample is a combination of physical and chemical methods. Combination of physical and chemical methods. DNA extraction is the first step for the subsequent molecular or forensic analysis and study of genes involved in the cancer, for the DNA fingerprinting to identify the individuals. Now see what are the materials are required. This is the glass beakers, 2 glass beakers, measuring spoons, knife, long spatula or spoon for mixing, blender or mixer, and strainer, coffee filter. This is the filter. And another one is, here it is a water bath, ice water bath, distilled water, clear liquid shampoo or detergent, large onion, salt, 1 pasture pipette, and 95% ethanol. These are the chemicals and things are required for the isolation of the DNA. So what are the things? So beaker, that is glass beaker, measuring spoon, knife, long spatula or spoon, mixer or blender, and strainer. Hot water bath, ice water bath, distilled water, clear liquid detergent or shampoo, 1 large onion, salt, and here it is a pasture pipette. This is a glass pasture pipette and 95% ethanol. These are the chemicals are required. Now see the procedure. First set up the water bath at 55 to 60 degrees Celsius and ice water bath. Ice water bath meaning is nothing but you take the ice cubes that is put into the beaker. Okay. So set up the water bath at 50 to 60 degrees Celsius and also require the 1 ice water bath. Take the beaker. Now add the ingredients one by one. That is, here it is a, add the 10 ml of dishwashing detergent or shampoo. That is should be a clear liquid. And next add the salt about the 1.5 grams or 1 by 4 tablespoon. Now add the distilled water, make up with 100 ml, and add the, here it is, chopped onions into the beaker. So now the beaker contains how many things? Onion, salt, and this is dish water and distilled water. 4 things are. Now dissolve the salt by using a spatula or long spoon to avoid foaming. Okay. Now put the beaker in hot water bath at 55 to 60 degrees Celsius for 10 to 12 minutes. Why you are put the beaker in at the 55 to 60 degrees Celsius for 10 to 12 minutes only? Why don't do more than 15 minutes? Because the DNA will be begin to break down at the higher temperature. Now cool the mixer in an ice water bath for 5 minutes. So first is heat the mixer about the 15 minutes at 55 to 60 degrees Celsius. Now cool the mixer in an ice water bath for 5 minutes. At this step, slows the breakdown of DNA. Breakdown of DNA is slow. Now filter the mixer through a coffee filter. Now filter the mixer through a coffee filter or strainer. Now the filtered liquid dispense into the test tubes. Dispense into the test tubes. Like this, dispense into the test tubes. Now add the cold alcohol to the test tube to create an alcohol layer on top of the about 1 centimeter. So now add the cold alcohol is required about the 1 centimeter. Let the solution sit for 2 to 3 minutes without disturbing it. Let the solution sit for 2 to 3 minutes without disturbing it. Now see that this is the DNA. See, this is the DNA. This is prepared in our laboratory today's morning. See, here it is. See, this is isolated DNA from onion. See, here it is. See, this is clear one. This isolation of DNA from onion in our laboratory. So once again, what are the requirements? See here the requirements for the isolation of DNA. Beaker, spatula, that is measuring spatula or measuring spoon, knife and long spoon or long spatula, blender or mixer, strainer, water bath, ice water bath, distilled water, clear liquid detergent or shampoo, ethanol. One is this one is a pipette, Pasteur pipette, salt and onion. These are the things is required. Okay, now see the functions of the chemicals. Detergent. The main function of detergents when you are adding into the solution, it dissolves the fatty molecules and holds the cell membrane together. The main function is dissolve the fat molecules and holds the cell membrane together and release the DNA into the solution. The main function is so dissolve the fat molecules and holds the cell membrane together and release the DNA into the solution. Next, water bath. So when detergent is combined with the heat treatment, it causes the lipids and proteins to precipitate. Lipids and precipitate that means when you heat the solution by using is water bath, it causes the precipitation, that is lipids and proteins. So causes the lipids and proteins to precipitate out of the solution and leaving the DNA. Now see the function of the salt when you are adding into the solution sample. The salts enables the DNA strands to come together. The salts enables the DNA strands to come together. Now see the alcohol function. DNA generally is not soluble in alcohol. Don't forget, DNA is not soluble in alcohol. When you add the alcohol into the mixer or solution, all the components of the mixer except the DNA stay in solution while the DNA is precipitate out into the alcohol layer. That's meaning, so alcohol, the importance of the alcohol. So DNA is not soluble in alcohol. Stay in solution, the remaining things or stay in solution, but DNA is precipitates out. This is the, after adding the alcohol, DNA is precipitated out. See here it is the DNA is precipitated out. The precipitation you can see here it is clearly after adding the alcohol. So the DNA is not dissolved in the alcohol, but it precipitates out. See here it is. See, this is a simple thing. First chop the onions, that is put into the beaker. This beaker contains the water, salts and detergent. And now the mixer is pour into the blender or mixer. So after grinding, then heat the mixer, then filter the mixer. Now filtered mixer, the filtered solution transfer into the test tubes. Now add the alcohol. Now see the DNA precipitate. So onion cell standard results. This is the DNA. This is also preparation of the DNA extraction from chicken liver. For this purpose, first you take the chicken liver, blend with by using a mortar and twister. Now this material is added into the beaker. This beaker also containing the water, salt and detergents. Mix it thoroughly. Now this mixing is filtered by using strainer or filter. Now the filtered one is added into the separate test tube. Now add the alcohol. See the DNA strands. After isolation of the DNA, you should measure the purity of DNA concentration. How? The measurement of the purity of DNA concentration by using UV absorbency spectrometry. By using UV absorbency spectrometry and electrophoresis, that is agarose gel electrophoresis. By using UV absorbency spectrometry and electrophoresis, that is a agarose gel electrophoresis. Now see the principle of UV absorbency. The amount of UV radiation absorbed by a solution of DNA, the amount of UV radiation absorbed by a solution of DNA is directly proportional to the amount of DNA sample. Is directly proportional to the amount of DNA sample. The UV absorbency is measured at 260 nanometers. At which nanometers? 260 nanometers. At 260 nanometers, the normal value of DNA, double standard DNA per ml is 1.0 to 50 micrograms. The purity of the DNA ratio is 1:8. The purity of the DNA ratio is 1:8. If the 1:8 less than 1:8, the sample is contaminated with the either protein or phenol. Don't forget, if the purity of the DNA is less than 1:8, the sample is contaminated with the protein or phenol. So this is a nanometer. The normal value of DNA, that is between the 1.0 to 50 micrograms in spectrophotometer. That is micrograms, 1 to 50 micrograms. That is in UV absorbency per ml. But this is a nanometer. This is highly sophisticated. So also quantifies displays the concentration of DNA in nanograms per microliters. Nanograms per microliters. Here it is a micrograms per ml. Don't forget, here it is a micrograms per ml. That is 1 to 50 micrograms per ml. But here it is a DNA in nanograms per microliters. So if you have the less quantity of the solution, you can quantify the DNA in nanograms per ml. This is the nanometer. It's highly sophisticated. Highly sophisticated. Thank you.